We are here today to answer the question, is Slim the next face of Misfits? As you may know, or maybe you don't, Salt Papi vs. Slim just went down on the Misfits Prime card, where Slim knocked out Salt Papi in a very competitive fight. Salt Papi winning those first few rounds there, and it was looking like the win was heading in his direction when Slim started to come back in that third round. He started making this fight competitive, and in the fourth round, he started landing huge shots, knocked down Salt Papi, and just a few moments later, the ref calls the fight. Now, this already was a huge fight. Two of the bigger names in influencer boxing, but I think this fight might have been even bigger than you may think. Because KSI, who was the main event of the Prime card and the overall face of Misfits, will not be around forever, right? He actually recently announced that he is taking a break from boxing. He is taking some time to relax and think about what he wants to do next. And realistically, I see him only having one more fight, two max, honestly. I see him having a fight with Jake Paul, and then maybe some kind of superstar like a McGregor type comes in and brings him back for a fight. That's about it for KSI in my eyes. And KSI, as of now, pretty much headlines every single Misfits pay-per-view event. All of the other events have pretty much been free up to this point. And eventually, we're going to have to see someone else headline some of these events. There's going to have to be a new face of Misfits. And that face is not going to be as big of a name as KSI, especially at first. There might even be a couple faces you could look to, but someone is going to have to take over the mantle as the guy you think of when you hear Misfits boxing. And I think for a long time, Misfits wanted that guy to be Salt Papi. And Salt Papi, he has taken 2 losses now, is still a huge name in popularity, and I think he's gonna continue to grow as time goes on. I don't think we've seen the end of Salt Papi at all, but taking those 2 losses, I think has delayed that process by a good amount of time. We're gonna have to see someone else step up, and I think the perfect name to step up is Slim. Outside of the co-main event and main event of the Prime card, which obviously featured the biggest names of Logan Paul and KSI, Salt Papi vs. Slim was the next most talked about fight. I saw a lot of people who are not really in the YouTube boxing space mention this fight. Because for people who don't follow the YouTube boxing space, the only fights really being talked about are KSI versus Tommy Fury and Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis. But now I am starting to see that Salt Papi and Slim fight being mentioned with those ones as well. And I think because this fight was very close at times and it had such an insane ending with Slim knocking out Salt Papi, I think that helped a lot. And I also just think these two are growing names. They're getting bigger in the sport, and they're going to continue to grow as they have more fights. I think more and more people are starting to root for Slim. If anyone deserves to be the next face of Misfits, it's got to be Slim. You could bring up someone like a Dean the Great, who has also done great things on Misfits. His skill is there. His wins are there. The entertainment factor is there. But in my eyes, there is one big thing that is holding back Dean the Great from being that face, and that is the lack of contenders at his weight. At least for now, there aren't enough names at that weight division to keep Dean as the next face of Misfits. I think as time goes on, that weight division will grow. But for now, there's only a couple of those names. Waleed, we've kind of seen that story arc pass by, and those fights have been a lot of fun. But Dean is going to have to look for new opponents now, and I think there's going to be a little bit of difficulty there. Slim, on the other hand, all of the contenders are right around that weight. There's so many different fights that could be made in that division, and I think almost all of them are going to want to fight Slim. But let's get back to why Slim deserves to be the next face. He is growing in popularity. He is undefeated, and he has taken some difficult opponents. It's not like he's undefeated off fighting a bunch of different bums. One of the only remaining undefeated fighters in the YouTube space, he has taken difficult fight after difficult fight, and he has been the underdog in many of those fights as well, and he has always shown up and delivered and proved people wrong. When he first stepped into the Misfits scene to fight FaZe Temper, Everyone looked at him as the underdog. He was not supposed to win that fight, and he ended up having one of the biggest knockouts we've seen yet. On short notice, FaZe Temper was supposed to win that fight and fight KSI next. That was supposed to be the plan. But Slim put those plans to the side. FaZe Temper did ultimately end up fighting KSI, but it wasn't next. And that is when Slim's star power started to build. And it's only gotten bigger since that day. He has collected win after win. And the Salt Poppy win is the biggest of them all. Once again, most people looked at him as the underdog. And once again, he came back with a knockout finish and proved people wrong, including myself. I picked Salt Poppy to win that fight. Slim checks all the boxes of what it takes to be the next face of Misfits. At least one of the faces of Misfits after KSI. And I think he's going to continue to win. There's a lot of names. There's a lot of different directions he can go right now. And I'm excited to see what's next for Slim. What do you guys think? Who's the next face of Misfits? What should be next for Slim? Let me know. Subscribe for more boxing content and updates. The support is much appreciated. Thank you for watching. Peace.